Hope lives, always, even when we're not sure what we can do to help, when we're unsure that we are helping others at all. When I was in college, I had the opportunity to work at a hospital as a chaplain intern. For those of you who don't know what a chaplain intern is, or even what a chaplain is, we are pastors and spiritual leaders whose congregation is not a church or a synagogue or any other community of faith that's typically thought of. A chaplain's congregation, the people they serve and provide care and spiritual care for, are often the population of a particular facility or group. There are chaplains in prisons and hospitals, in nursing homes, in the military, chaplains for the police and for the fire departments, and even for sports teams. One of the most challenging aspects for me of being a chaplain intern in a hospital was the fact that it often wasn't clear to me if the work that I was doing was helpful. I had no medical training. I couldn't administer IVs or check vital signs. My role was to be present for people, to listen as they shared their struggles, to acknowledge and affirm their pain and their fear, to read to them, laugh with them, cry with them, to be a presence of hope, a voice in prayer. While doing all these things were certainly nice things to do, it was easy for me to wonder if my work had any benefit for the healing process. I find myself echoing many of these same feelings now as the coronavirus continues to spread through our world. In the face of a struggle of this magnitude, what good, if any, are my phone calls to neighbors, my constant ringing of our church bell, and messages like this one? What good are these things really doing? It's then that I remember this little girl and her mother that I met in the ER while doing that job as a chaplain intern. It was hard to miss the two of them. They were sitting on a gurney next to the nurse's station, and they were both wearing bathing suits. They'd been at the beach that afternoon, and the little girl, who couldn't have been older than 4, had slipped on a rock and needed a few small stitches for a cut she sustained on her foot. Now, this would normally not be much of an issue in the emergency department of that hospital. But the moment that pair came in, one team of EMTs after another burst through the doors with patients who were in critical condition. Soon all of the rooms in the ER were filled, forcing this mom and her daughter to sit outside the rooms, still in their bathing suits, waiting for someone to help after they finished stabilizing everybody else. When I started my shift that day, this pair had been there for hours, shivering in the air conditioning as doctors, nurses, and rescue workers scrambled from room to room all around them, caring for so many. Now, I couldn't stitch this girl's foot, but I could bring blankets to her and to her mom so they wouldn't have to be so cold and so exposed. I could visit and tell stories to that little girl to distract her from the chaos around her and from the pain that she was feeling. And if there's any question, if the small acts that I could do mattered in that moment, they were answered by the tears in the eyes of that mom as their little girl laughed with me, perched on that gurney. May we know that right now, even if we're not on the front lines caring for patients, the small things that we can do for others make a significant difference. This includes our efforts to distance ourselves. The Bible is filled with stories of Jesus healing the sick, the lame, the diseased. But between the lines of all those stories are the people that cared for those that were sick, who brought food and blankets to those who were lame, who listened and showed mercy to those who were diseased, and did so for months and even years before those that they cared for even locked eyes with Christ. because small acts of love have always mattered, because hope matters, and because hope lives always.